where you get showcased. So I was fortunate to hold on a sec. I was fortunate to go to a 1 week camp at Indiana University, and the coach from Drake University was there. And from what he saw in a week, he gave me a full ride scholarship to go to college. By that time, as a senior in high school, I'd already started playing basketball, so I excelled at basketball also. Got a couple scholarships, but soccer was my thing, so I went with soccer to you get showcased. So I was fortunate to hold on a sec. There's a feedback. Go to a 1 week camp. Can you hear me? There's a feedback.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So go to college, played soccer for 4 years, did really well, but there wasn't a professional league. The MLS, the Major League Soccer here, didn't start yet. This was back in 1994 when I came out of college. So I just drove around, looked for some semi-pro teams to play on, and I decided to play in New Orleans. So it was while playing in New Orleans, playing a game in Dallas with the New Orleans team. There was a gentleman from St. Vincent that was in the stands, was there at the game. And after the game, Vinny Davis, he came up to me and asked, where I was from. And I told him I was from St. Vincent, and he knew the Vincentian coach, who was Mr. Lenny Taylor at the time. This was 1995. And he said, do you ever go back and represent the country? I said, no, I have a brother, Wesley John, a younger brother that I know plays on the team, but I have no connection to the team. I don't know how to, get in touch with anyone there. So he said, okay, I'll talk to the coach. He talked to Mr. Taylor, and Lenny was grateful enough to give me the opportunity to come home and try out for the team. And I made it. So that's how I got even involved with the St. Vincent VINCY Heat, back in 1995.
Mm-hmm. So you said your brother Leslie John represented St. Vincent?
Wesley John. Yeah, most people might know him as Briscoe.
Oh, okay.
Very good midfielder back in the day.
So you have soccer in your blood.
Yeah. Yes.
And yeah, that's a good look. At least you have something to fall back on. Somebody who you can go to for advice and
right.
And that, yeah. How did they accept you though as coming into the U.S. league as a kid? How did the rest of the team accept you, like you are being like an immigrant coming into the team? How did that go down?
Here in the U.S. or in St. Vincent?
In the U.S., yeah.
Well, it wasn't easy. Once this league started, they only allowed 5, I think, international players at the time. So it was very difficult because the league was starting. They wanted big name players like the Maradonas and stuff like that. So not the Maradona, I mean, Donadoni. Sorry, excuse me. I'm not that old. Donadoni from Italy and stuff like that. So a guy like me coming from St. Vincent, a small island, it was difficult, and I didn't have my citizenship at the time. I just had a green card. So I decided to get my citizenship, which would make it easier for me to get into the league. And then once I get in, no matter what barriers, what obstacles people put up, if you have the talent and if you're good enough, I think that always shines through. And so, there might have been some naysayers or some doubters, but, because I worked hard at, my craft, I was able to, to stick and played, 12 seasons in the league. So, it wasn't always easy, but I think, my hard work and just my love for the game, my passion for the game helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm. And talking about working hard, you have a philosophy of, hard work would pay off. And if you keep going at it, you will achieve. What would you say to like people who are going through this thing, and not only for soccer, but people who are going through, and when I'm talking like from an immigrant perspective, because, like I keep saying, sometimes it's not easy out here to focus on your goal. Because I was checking on your press conference and you said you knew that, once you keep working hard, it will come. What advice would you say to people who are going through similar stuff, not necessarily in soccer, but in general?
Well, first, I want to commend my mother for that, because she is the one who really instilled that in me growing up, that you're never too small to achieve anything that you want to in life. No place that you came from is too small. So I never, ever thought that, oh man, you're just a little boy from Leyu, from a small Caribbean island, you're not going to make it. I always had that mentality because she instilled that in us, that, you know, if we set our goals, if there's something that we want to achieve, once we worked hard, because there's no other way to achieve things. You know, you're not gonna, unless you're born into it, from into a rich family, let's say, or maybe you have that opportunity. But for the most part, you know, especially us as immigrants, you know, you have to work hard. There's no other way around it. So that mentality was always within me growing up, and to this day, it's still the mentality. What I was referring to on the press conference, the reporter was asking about, you know, being a minority coach. You know, did I ever felt like this will never happen, or it wasn't for me? And basically, I was just telling him, no, I never. You know, I saw other colleagues, other coworkers get head coaching jobs before me, but I never wavered. I never gave up. I never had doubt that my time would come. I just wanted to make sure that I kept working hard as an assistant, kept winning these championships, and that one day my time would come. And then when it did come, that I'd be ready. So I think, you know, I just kept plugging away, kept working hard, and, you know, here we are. And I'm very happy. And when you work hard for something, there's a feeling of, you know, yes, I did it, you know. And so that's what, that's how I feel right now, that, you know, nothing was handed to me. And I wouldn't want anything to be handed to me anyways. I wanted to, you know, work hard and get to where I'm at, and that's where we are. But I would say, though, you know, getting here was hard work, but staying here is going to be even harder work, because, you know, it's easy to get here, but it's easy to, you know, to fall also, you know. So you just got to keep plugging away and just never giving up. So to anyone out there, that whoever feels like, oh, you know, I'm just, it's just not for me, I'm not going to make it, I've tried, you know, don't give up, you know. Stay focused, have faith in God. If God wants something for you and you work hard at it, because he does say he helped those who help themselves. So if you're working hard at it, it will eventually, you'll achieve that. So that's my message to anyone who's listening right now.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna bring it up to the soccer area now. So we just want to let folks know that you've been an assistant head coach for many years, and you're involved about 25 years in the soccer league, American, what is it called, American
Major League Soccer.
Yeah, Major League Soccer. Yeah. So you came into the Chicago Fire with a wealth of experience. You know, we're going to touch all that later on, but I just want to let folks know that you were involved in the Major League Soccer for over 25 years, and you came with a wealth of experience from your playing days to assistant coaching days. And even like you say about hard work, you have, they went through applications of over 100 applicants for the job. So it's just, you know, an idea of, or an insight of your work ethics, that you were just choosing from a vast amount of field. And if I was to quote George Hayes, if I have the name correct.
Yes, Heights. That's
right.
Sporting director.
Yeah, he gave you a tremendous praise, you know, for being one of the applicant for the job. And if I was to say, you give some adjectives as well of how you describe yourself as ready, excited, honored, and the hard worker. So I'm just looking at what George said. George said that when he chose you, he looked at it as, if I was to vote for that person, would that, if I was to put myself in that place of that person, would that person be me, or something like that? And then he said, you fit right into his catalog of what he was looking for, you know. So give us an idea of when you were selected among the I think it was the final 3 candidates for selection. What was that moment like?
Yeah, so, you know, they started with, I think, over 400 people applying, and this was internationally, not just in the US, all over the world. And then they cut it down to 10 of us, and we did a Zoom interview just like this, with the sporting director, the senior president of football operations, and the technical director. And you just sat here and they asked you questions, asked about your philosophy about the game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then from that, those 10 people, those 10 applicants they chose 3 of us to go to Chicago, have another interview in person, this time also with the owner of the team. And I must say that, you know, of the 3 of us, if we look at just resume, I probably have the best resume, but one of the applicants was the leading scorer all time for Chicago. So he had some pedigree there with the club, with the fans and stuff like that. But I didn't let that bother me. I said, listen, if I go in there and I do this interview to the best of my abilities, I should be fine. And so I went in. It was very, you know, relaxed. The owner is a very, very, very humble gentleman. And so he made it, you know, easy for you to just talk about how can you bring success to his organization, you know, how can you change the fate of this team. And so I just went in, answered it. First, I gave my presentation about, you know, how we're going to play, what's my philosophy about how the game should be played. Then they asked a couple situational questions, as far as they show you a clip. This is in game. What would you do if you were the coach of the team in this situation? And we did like 3 of those. And then I finished with a summation and a conclusion, talk about my mentor, talk about, you know, the people who inspired me to be the type of coach that I am, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, one of the things that I ended my interview with is that I told them, for me, I have a strong belief that the identity of a team should be in alignment with the reputation of the city that it represents. And that when I look at Chicago and we look at the people of Chicago, I think of very hardworking, successful people. And then that's the type of team that I would run in Chicago. So I think that resonated with them, because they wanted someone who could come in and make sure that, you know, we're not going to win every game, you know, that it's impossible to do, but no fan is going to leave the stadium thinking, you know, those players are just not working hard enough, or they didn't put the effort in, and I waste my money buying that ticket, et cetera, et cetera. Every fan, every game they leave, they're going to be thinking, you know what, win, lose or draw, you know what, I'm going to always support this team because, you know, those guys are working hard and those guys put in the effort today, regardless of the outcome. Now, you got to win more than you lose because it's a result-based business. But, you know, as long as, you know, you can get the players to buy into what it is that you're teaching, buy into the way that you're trying to play, and the fans see that they're working hard, everyone will leave the stadium, you know, with something, you know. Now there has to be progress. And from where we are, you know, the team hasn't made the playoff, I think, twice in the last 10 or 12 years. So, you know, it's not going to be an easy road, but I think, you know, we have what it takes to, you know, to change the fate of the team and make the people of Chicago happy.
True. Sip, I'm going to let Sip jump in here, and I'm going to come back to you after. Right?
Cool.
Once again, Ezra, I want to thank you for accepting the invitation here for VINCY Internet Radio. I want to start out by asking you your school days. Take me back to your school days, I think the Western High School. And
yeah,
so high school.
High school, yeah. So I can even go back further, you know. So I went to Layou Government School, and then I went to St. Martin's for the first 3 forms. So I left when I was about to go into Form 4 in St. Martin's. Then I got to Kokomo, Indiana, went to Western High School. The funny thing about that, you know, culturally, it was very difficult for me the first 6 months or so being in the United States. As a 13-year-old boy coming from Layou, never been on a plane, much less, you know, never left St. Vincent, get to America, and it's very difficult because it's cold, the food is different, you know, I have an accent, you know, I'm a 13-year-old boy that's just left his mom, and so it was a little rough at first. The weather, everything was just, I wasn't used to anything, the way of life. But I started making friends, and then it became a little easier for me, it became a little better. Tried playing basketball, but I was very bad. I was very horrible, you know. It wasn't until I think my junior year of high school that I became really good at basketball, that I was able to get, you know, offers to play in college. But at first it was horrible. And that's what kids do in Indiana, they play basketball. And so, and you know, when you're 13 years old, if you're the worst player on the pitch, on the field, on the court for basketball, it's kind of embarrassing, you know, because everyone is so much farther advanced than you because they've been playing all their life. And now you've just started playing. But I worked hard at it and got better at it. And then I started, you know, feeling a little more, you know, accepted, so to speak. And then just making friends. My dad and my stepmother helped a lot as far as, making me feel, welcome and feel a part of, the family that, they were building. So it was rough culturally as far as fitting in at first, but then with the help of family and friends, I was able to become more engraved in the society and in the way of life.
And saying that, tell us about your achievement at high school.
So in high school, didn't have a soccer team. So soccer wasn't my thing. I did some travel soccer, but basketball, I became very good. I trained, I practiced a lot. I had my dad buy me a basketball goal that he put up outside of the house. And every day I would just shoot by myself, just shoot, be 80, 90 degrees. Sometimes in the summertime, I was just out there, just working at it. And I just became better. And I went from, not even making, my team as a freshman to being the star player by my junior year in high school. And then I went on and started on the team for the next couple of years, junior and senior year. The team did really well. We won a regional championship, something that the teams, because it was a small school, had never done before. So it was good times playing basketball in high school. But when it came to college, I had choice between a basketball scholarship or a soccer scholarship, and I went with soccer, and here we are.
I think before that were you inducted into the school Hall of Fame?
Oh yes. So I was inducted into the Hall of Fame of the high school, and I've last couple of years, I think 2020, I was inducted into the Indiana Soccer, the State of Indiana Soccer Hall of Fame. I don't know if you can see a plaque right here represents that. So, I was able to, have some achievements there in the state of Indiana in high school. And just, I don't know, I was blessed with talent from God, so, and I don't take that for granted. I don't take that lightly. Yes, I did work hard, but, with the help of God, I was able to achieve, some of these achievements, all of these achievements that I've accomplished in my life.
You started out as a forward player. I think in your first season, you scored 13 goals. Tell us how you transfer from being a forward line player, scoring so many goals, to a defender.
Yeah, so I never wanted to be a defender, but when I got to college, I was a forward, and I kept begging the coach, put me in the defense. I want to play, in the back, But I was scoring goals, so he said no. You got to stay up front. So I scored 13 goals as a freshman, which I think still is a school record there at Drake University. And then I ended up my sophomore and junior year playing forward. But my senior year, the coach finally listened to me and allowed me to play defense, and I went on to play defense professionally. So, but being a defender was always my first love, but I was scoring some goals, and the coach was like, no, I'm not, I can't take you from up top, so that's a story behind that.
I know how it is in this part of the world. I'm going to give you one little story. When I came from St. Vincent, I started refereeing here. And I tell you that a lot of people don't realize how hard you have to work up here to maintain your standard. Every year I had to do a fitness test, and every year I had to do an exam. So tell us a little bit about those inspiration, because taking it back to the Caribbean, although we have a lot of talent there, the work ethic is not that good. Give us a little insight about work ethic, so that people who think that now you are the coach, that you can just bring everybody in when it's minus 40 outside, they don't want to go out and train while we going out and referee at that thing. So give us a little bit about the work ethics, or somebody who really want to come to the state to play football.
Yeah, to reach a professional level in any sport, but we'll talk about soccer now, it's very difficult. It takes a mental fortitude that, a lot of people just don't have. A lot of players, they have the talent, they have the God-given talent, but they're not willing to put in the work, or things get hard and they want to back down. It's not going to work. To be a professional soccer player, I think they say 1 out of every 1,000 collegiate player go on to play professionally. It's not an easy road, and there are going to be obstacles, there are going to be challenges, and you just have to be mentally tough, because to make it to that, it's like a specialist. When you become a professional at anything, it's like a surgeon or something. You're a specialist at that sport. And to get that opportunity, you have to work hard. You know, you have to have that mentality that, you know, if being a professional soccer player is what you want to do, when it's -10 out and you have to go out, you have to go out and train. You know, it's not looking out, you know, I'm VINCY. I don't like cold weather, but I had a goal in mind. I knew, you know, what I wanted to become. I knew I wanted to be a professional. And so when it was cold or when times were bad, maybe when I didn't play much, I never stopped training hard, working hard, and I never, you know, focused on what the goal, you know, what the end product that I wanted. And to be a professional, you have to have that mindset, that mentality, because it's very challenging. It's not easy. And so to the people of St. Vincent, the younger generation who, you know, have aspirations to become professionals, I just want them to keep that in mind that, you know, yes, I being a coach now, it makes it a little easier for someone from St. Vincent to become a professional because there's like a pathway, but you have to work hard, because if I bring someone in who is not willing to work hard, not willing to put in the work, and the team is not successful, then I won't last as a coach. And then that pathway gets cut off. So yes, though I may look for a Vincentian and give a Vincentian priority over another person, another player from a different country or something, they have to be able to do the work, and they have to be good enough. You know, you're not going to get the opportunity just because you're Vincentian, because it is a result-based business, and, you know, I have to win, you know. So just being mentally tough and know that even if you have the talent, you know, I always tell my players, if there are two players and the talent level is here equally, I might give the guy who have a little bit more talent the opportunity. You know, if the talent is wide gap between player A and player B, yeah, player A is probably going to get more opportunities. But if it's even and the player that's maybe not so talented is outworking the talented player, I will go with the player that's working harder, because that's what you need. You need that player. You need, when that whistle blows, you need somebody that's going to be out there that's going to put in the work, that's going to do what it takes to help the team win, and not just based on their talent alone.
You started your era, you already assigned a player. Tell us a little bit about how you're going about to building a team. That's the Ezra, this is your era. Yeah,
so I have my top assistant, my first assistant. He's someone that worked with me before. So I brought him in on my staff, and also have my staff filled out with 3 other coaches. But as far as the recruiting goes, I have a technical director, a sporting director, and a vice president of football operations that, you know, been doing the scouting. We have a vast network. My sporting director and technical director are both in Germany right now, looking for, you know, players, looking for talent. We have a lot of young, talented players, but we need to bring in some seasoned veterans now to help, you know, nurture those players, because, you know, you can't just have a team full of just young players. You know, you need some experience within the team, and that's something we don't have. You know, we're lacking a little bit of that leadership. So the most recent player, it's a Bundesliga player. I don't want to mess his name up here. It's Rafael Schihus, is the pronunciation of it. He's a defender, left-sided center back, very good player, plays for Cologne in Germany, in the Bundesliga. And he'll join us as soon as he gets his visa. He'll be over in Chicago, maybe in the next couple of weeks or so. So that was a big signing for us. He was scouted by the technical director. I'm in charge of making the final decision on players. So regardless of who the technical directors or the scouting people see, they send it to me. I have a look at the player, and I decide if it's a yay or nay for me. There's a certain type of player that I like. So, you know, I watch film on the player. One of the things, when I saw this player, I liked him, but I wanted to know more about his leadership. I happened to be in St. Vincent at the time, so I set up a call with him. I was kind of worried. I didn't know if he spoke English or not, but his English was very, very good. So I just called him, and we talked for about 30 minutes. And within 15 minutes of a conversation, I knew that this is the player that I wanted. This is the type of player that I wanted on my team. Yes, his talent, his resume, you know, playing in the Bundesliga is very good, but just speaking to him and talking to him, and he's the type of leader that, you know, we're going to need on the team. So that conversation did it for me. And like after we got done, I called my technical director and I said, yeah, talk with his agent, talk with his team. This is something that we want to do. And within a couple of weeks, we were able to sign him, and he's now, player for the Chicago Fire.
You every year you seem to be heading back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's telling me that you put your country before anything else. What would you say to people to motivate them in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to become professional players, seeing that you're there every year?
Well, I just tell them, to work hard. It always goes back to hard work for me. And like I said, that is from my mom, from my mother growing up. And never think that, nothing is, something is impossible to achieve. If you set a goal and you work hard at it, you will get it. And that's like the baseline thing I say to, the young players in St. Vincent, that listen, if me, Ezra Hendrickson from Layou St. Vincent, can make it, so can you. But it's not easy. You have to work at it. You have to work hard at it. And it's so much more opportunities now. Like I said, me being a coach in the league is going to present more opportunities for Vincentians. But they have to come with the right mentality. They have to come with the right attitude. They have to have the talent also, So there are more doors open now for the player in St. Vincent that's trying to become a professional. But it comes with, work, talent, and just constantly put in that effort.
All right, in case you just joined us, we're talking to Ezra Hendrickson, the new appointed coach of the Chicago Fire, the new appointed head coach of the Chicago Fire. So Ezra, if I have to go again, I'll be jabbing you about this. So you took on a job for you make it your first official head coaching job for a team like the Chicago Fire, who wasn't doing too good in the past few years. Tell us what motivated you to think that you're the man to carry this team to the new era.
Well, firstly, it had always been a goal of mine to be a head coach in the league. Ever since the last few years of my playing days, when I started thinking about, okay, life after playing, what is it that I wanted to do? And being a head coach was first and foremost, my number one goal. So I did all the licensing, the educational part of it. I got my B license, my A license, and now I have the top license in the country, my pro license. So I made sure that I had that, that base, because it's easy for someone to say, I can't give you the job because you don't have the proper qualifications, you don't have the proper license. So I got that out of the way, so that couldn't be an excuse. But having a goal to be a head coach was something that I kept working at. As an assistant coach, I won a couple championships, and I just waited for the opportunity. So now when Chicago presented itself to me in late October, early November, my agent called me and he said that, hey, Chicago has interest, and are you interested? I said, yeah, definitely. So it's rare that you join a team as a head coach that's doing well. It's always the team that's not doing well that's looking for a new direction. So I expected, when I did get my first head coaching job, it would be a team that is going to need a change of direction, a change of fortune, so to speak. But I went in there and I spoke with the owner and the technical director, the sporting director, and their vision for the team and how they want to change the organization and how they want to get the organization back to where it was, because Chicago was once a top team in the league, but it just had fallen on bad times as of late. But when I sat down and talked with them about their vision of, they're building a new stadium and building a new training facility, and how they're working along with the city of Chicago to really, really push the organization, I felt like, this is an organization I want to be a part of, because here's an owner that really, really is enthusiastic about the team. It's not just some guy who's just writing a check. He's actually involved in, doing what it takes to get the Chicago Fire back to, top tier status in the league. So that impressed me a lot. And I think it's the right opportunity. I like the youth of the team. We do need to, like I said earlier, get some leadership, some seasoned veterans in, but the direction in which the team is going, I think that attracted me. And just sitting down and talking to the owner and just listening to his ideas about what he wanted to do with the team and how he wanted to, to push the team back to its promising days, that really attracted me to this job.
All right, because the sporting director described you as tactically ready, hungry, and keen. So what are some of the things that you're bringing for that new dimension in terms of tactics? Well,
my philosophy is that the game you should be entertained as a fan watching the game. So it's going to be an up-tempo, high-pace type of game. We want to play in the opponent's half more than we are in our half, because it just gives you an opportunity to dominate the game. It's possession-based, so there's going to be a lot of possession, a lot of movement off the ball, breaking lines. I don't know if people can understand some of these soccer terminologies, but just basically playing from the back, possession-based, and trying to get forward as quickly as possible, and playing the opponent's half. The basis of it is, when we have the ball, we want to create space. And when we don't have it, we want to reduce space for the opponent. And that's the kind of style that you're going to see the Chicago Fire playing under my watch. Is just an aggressive, relentless when we don't have the ball to get the ball back. And then when we do have the ball, trying to attack, just being aggressive, trying to get forward, get into the final third and scoring goals. Because like I said, entertaining the fans is something that I want my team to do, but not just entertaining as far as just passing back and forth. It's not possession, but there's an end goal, and the end goal is to score. And that's the kind of team that you'll see from Chicago Fire.
Mm-hmm. I also like the way you said that there will be growing pain, but you'll get the job done. What is, if you have to break it down for us, what would you consider success in terms of achievement for your first, let's say your first season?
Well, I think, getting into the playoffs would be massive because this is something that this club hasn't done in a few years now. So that would be massive. But I think if we're showing progression, we're showing a good progression as the season goes along, I think the fans will be happy. But, it's a task. And it's not an easy one, but it's one that I embrace. And that's a challenge that, that I wanted. And I'm happy to be here. And I'm going to do whatever it takes, to get this team back to where it needs to be. Chicago is a big market. It's like the third largest market in the country, behind New York and Los Angeles. So this is a team that, for the league, it needs to do well. It needs to be a very good team. And I think, by year's end, you'll see a Chicago team that's teetering on making the playoffs or very, very close to making the playoffs. But I think if we bring in the right players with the core group of guys that we have, I think we will be in the playoffs this year, and that will be a very successful season for the team. Now, if we could go on and win the championship, that would be just out of this world. But nothing is too big to dream of, but you have to be realistic at times, and we'll see how it goes. I'll ask me in August, I'll let you know, how, what I think as far as the next 6 months after that. But I think once I get the players to buy into my philosophy, how I want to play, and I change the culture into a winning culture, I think we'll be fine. But there's some changes that obviously needs to be made so we can get back to, where we need to be.
Mm-hmm. So you're obviously probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, the first, let's say, black head coach for the Chicago Fire.
6 months after that. But
sorry, I'm getting the feedback there. So.
Yeah, I'm getting feedback also.
Yeah, okay.
Just some like the technical difficulties and just popping up every now and then. So that's
okay. Just continue. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, there was a black coach of the Fire before, previously. Dennis Hamlin.
Okay. So my question was, how do you look at because Chicago obviously is such a beautiful city, a lot of with obviously a high crime rate and stuff like that. How do you plan to contribute towards, like, let's say, inner city youths in and around Chicago?
Yeah, well, I think the Chicago Fire has good charity network that we can get involved in. There's several different charitable organizations. It's my time is very, very, very busy, but I will find time, and I've done it in every city that I've coached in, even as an assistant coach, to get into the inner city and just spread the game of football, because sometimes soccer is not, in the inner city is not so much spread. It's more of like a suburban game here in the States. But there are talented players within the inner city. It's just, those players tend to flock more towards basketball, football, American football, or, baseball and stuff like that. So, just getting out there and being, in the city, talking with people, maybe visiting schools, stuff like that is my way of, getting out there, reaching and just exposing the minority people, the Black people in the inner city to the game of soccer. It's getting better. And like I said, the organization itself does a lot of those charitable things, and they form partnership with a lot of charitable organizations that helps to embrace the entire city and not just the suburban population.
Mm-hmm. Ezra, I feel like you're holding back on us on the real Ezra Hendricks, because even when Sip jumped in, like, I was learning a lot of new stuff from you. You went to the St. Martin's. You made it sound like you just got up and you went to the US. You feel free to take us in depth. How does it feel? Because you're making it feel so simple. How does it feel, like, as not only as a Black coach, but like a Caribbean immigrant, not even like a European immigrant, a Caribbean immigrant, to jump into the Major League Soccer, and you're now the head coach of one of the, like you said, one of the third biggest city, Chicago Fire? How does it feel? Give us the feeling, like, from when you got the call that, hey, you're being hired. Give us that feeling, and take us into your world of your emotions with that.
Yeah, I mean, when I got the call, I was, very excited. Like I said, it's something that I've always wanted to do. It was always a goal of mine to be a head coach. So when I got the call from my agent, and he told me that, hey, they're very interested. They want you to come back to Chicago a second time. But this is probably it. I was elated. It's when you've worked so hard for something, and you've watched colleagues get opportunities before you, when you weren't getting opportunities, when your opportunity does come and you get that chance, it was a feeling of elation. And it's still to this day, Monday, I officially start as far as meeting with my staff and stuff like that. So I know that once I do sit in that chair, and in that head coach's chair, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I'll cry, but there are times when I'm alone, and I sit there and I said,
pinch
thank
yourself.
God, I thank God. I pinch myself, but I thank God. I always, I put God first in everything. And one of the things I was telling my friends in St. Vincent when I was there last week and stuff is, this is beyond me. I'm just like the representation of this opportunity, but this is really, really big for St. Vincent, for the Caribbean, but specifically for St. Vincent. Being a Vincentian, this is a very big thing for that small island. And I always have, you see my flag here. I always have a VINCY flag with me on the bench or wherever I am at. I'm always pushing my country. And so I'm just happy, that I've gotten this opportunity to put St. Vincent on the map, so to speak. And I want to do the best that I can. Like I said, I'm happy, but I know that the work just now is beginning. It's one thing to get here, but it's another thing to stay here. And I just want to, enjoy the moment, feel happy, but just know that there's a lot of work ahead of me, and embrace it and face the challenge, and just, make the people of St. Vincent, the people of the Caribbean, everyone just happy, make them proud, to know that, a son of the soil has reached this level and is successful at it, so I'm just looking forward to, being in the trenches, so to speak. And, a lot of the decisions that's going to be made, everything's going to fall on my head, so if it goes well, it's going to be me. If it goes poorly, it's going to be me, but it's part of the job. And I'm ready to, to take on that challenge.
And that's one of the reasons also we have this program where we kind of highlight people from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and to a larger extent we will be extending it to outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well, is because sometimes you have to really acknowledge people who have contributed or who are contributing to representing St. Vincent, the Caribbean, immigrants, Black people, and not only Black people, but sometimes we will have people on the program who can contribute to other people learning and being informative. And you being here with us now is a true representation of success. But like you said, the success, it has just started. So we really embrace you, and like you said, it's really a good thing. It's a good look on St. Vincent, it's a good look on the Caribbean, it's a good look in general. So we really embrace your situation, and really embrace what you have accomplished so far, and we know that the work is not finished. So and we just want to let people know that you also represented St. Vincent on the national level. So tell us about that, because I think and I don't really want to misquote you, but I think you, as a defender, you also scored a few goals for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So
I represented VINCY Heat from 1995 to 2006, 2007. So I was a captain those 12 years. And it was good times for me. I was able to come back, represent my country. I hold St. Vincent dearly to my heart. Everywhere I go, like I said, my shirt says 100% VINCY. I'm always 100% VINCY, all about, St. Vincent. So it was an honor for me to just be back there and represent my country. And I always, when I came back, gave my best effort, because, sometimes you're seen as an outsider, when you come back to represent your country. But, I always tell them, the people in the diaspora, we're all Vincentians, we're all one, so going back there and helping that country, helping the players, just playing in front of all those people in Honorsville, those are going to be some of the most memorable times of my playing career, and I played, professionally for, 12 seasons. But those times going back and representing St. Vincent, because of what it meant to me, and because of how dearly I hold that country, it was some of the most memorable times. And I'll always remember some of the friendships that I made, the people that I met, and just represent my country is very a big part of what I take, on in life, as far as my experiences with soccer. And, I went back as an assistant coach to help them out 1 year. So anytime I could help St. Vincent in any way, shape, or form, be it soccer, any other how, when we had natural disasters, being able to be a part of stuff like that, I'm always first and foremost at the forefront, trying to do what I can from my position to help, my country. So those are memorable days that I always remember. Fun times.
Do you have, do you still have people like in the US and people from St. Vincent who you still mentor, or who come to you as for advice?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people in diaspora and back home that, I talk to. When I coached Seattle Sounders too, it was mainly for younger players. I was able to bring a couple Vincentians up, Myron Samuel and Olex Anderson Jr. To play with that team. So I always, looked out for, the talent that's there in St. Vincent. And in my position, once you're good enough, once you have the talent and you're willing to work, I'll give you the opportunity, So I'm always combing, the country, the Caribbean in whole. I have had Jamaicans on my team. I've had Martinique guys that I brought up, even Africa. I've reached as far as Cameroon and brought some Cameroon players over to play for me and stuff like that. So I'm always, trying to help the next, player, get an opportunity, and hopefully they make the most of it. But like I said, being in this position, I can help you. I can make the pathway clear for you, but a lot has to be on the individuals to decide that, professional soccer is something that I want to do, So I'm always trying to help as much as I can.
And just let those people know that when you say help, you mean like the door is open, and you can it's not just going to walk in. Like you said, again, they have to show the effort, they have to put in the enthusiasm, and show that they in other words, they have to want it to be there.
Yeah, because as a head coach, you have to also keep your credibility, and if you just giving people a chance just because you're from their country and they're not good enough, it doesn't really look good on you as a coach, so you have to keep your credibility while still reaching out and trying to help as much as you can. But it has to be a two-way street. It can't be just, oh, I'm VINCY, so give me an opportunity. You have to be, have the talent and be able to work to get better, because we always get better every day. I could tell you a story as when I was a rookie playing for the Metro Stars in the league. Roberto Donadoni, well-known, very good Italian player back in the days. He was on my team, and here he was towards the end of his career. I was just now coming in as a rookie, and he was staying after every practice, working on something, free kicks, his corner kick, something. And I was just packing up and leaving, and after a while I said to myself, wait a minute, if the great Donadoni is staying after because he feels he needs to work on his game, who am I to just be picking up, jumping in the shower, and then heading over to Brooklyn or wherever, or whatever have you. Mm-hmm. And one day I just sat down and I said, you know what? If he needs to work on things, then I definitely need to work on things. So I started staying after and working with him and just got better. And so you're never too old, or you never reach too far in the game to get better or to learn something new. All right. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I want every player that aspires to reach the professional level to know that, because sometimes, especially at home, you know how the players are, to feel like, I've made a national team, so I've reached, right. No, it extends beyond that. If you really, really, really want it, now if soccer is not something you want to do, then hey, so be it. But if it's something that you really want to do and you want to be at the professional level, you have to keep working and working and working and working and really, be focused.
And just to let them know that you obviously you will be dealing with them you'll be pushing them harder than ever. So,
yeah,
expect extra work.
Yes, definitely. Because I know what it takes. I know what it takes. I've been there, I've done that. So I know what it takes, to reach this level.
Trust the coach. Sippy?
Yep.
Ezra, I want to take you back a little bit as well. You every time you play the game, there's something under your shirt. Tell us why and the reason for you to put that under your shirt.
So when I first came into the league, every reporter, whenever they spoke to me, whenever they interviewed me, they mentioned Jamaica or they mentioned Trinidad. So there's never a mention of St. Vincent. But I wanted the people to know that I love the Caribbean. I love all the Caribbean islands, but I want them to know that I'm VINCY. I'm from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I decided there's a national televised game. It's going to be ABC. It's going to be all over the world. Everybody's going to see the game. I decided I'm going to write on 100% VINCY on my shirt. And so I did that. I didn't know I was going to score. I just, felt like in case I score today, I'm going to do this. Now I'm a defender. Chance of a defender scoring is very slim, but by the grace of God, I was able to score. So I lift the shirt up and I put 100% VINCY on there. And so everyone from then on never asked me about Jamaica, never asked me about Trinidad. They all knew exactly where I was from. I was from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. After that, I started wearing a Bob Marley t-shirt under my jersey. So once it was established where I was from and everything, Bob Marley is someone that inspiration. Before every game, I was just quiet, listening to Bob Marley music on my headphones, and that's how I got, up for games. How I got psyched up for games and stuff. So I had that shirt that I wore under my jersey. So after that, once the world knew I was from St. Vincent, I went to the Bob Marley and just lifted up my shirt and showed Bob every time.
Yeah, you scored the winning goal in a final game. Tell us a little bit about the game, because I think your team went in as the underdog for that game. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it was a Champions League game. I was playing Los Angeles Galaxy at the time. We go up 1-0. I think they went up 1-0. We tied it. We go up 2-1 on a goal that I scored, because I scored 2 goals that game, actually. So, and then they tied it 2-2. And I remember it's in the 85th minute, and I overlapped, got the ball, started to drive in, did a 1-2 with Mauricio Cienfuegos, and got the ball back, and I'm coming in at an angle, and I don't know, I'm supposed to cross, like my coach would say, cross that, because at the angle it was very difficult to score, but I just felt like I can score this. And instead of crossing, I just drove in towards the goalie, and I just hit as hard as I could near post. And maybe the goalkeeper thought I was going to cross it too, because he was kind of leaning, and boom, back of the net. We went on to win that game.
I'll tell you something. When I saw the goal, I put it down as a classic goal, because as my days as a goalkeeper, you're always going to cut that post off and looking for you to cross the ball from that angle.
Yes.
When you score that goal from that angle, I said, this is one of the best goals I think you ever scored in your career, because at where you were at that time. Yeah. So I put it down as being a goalkeeper where I'm going to look next to the ball.
Yes, exactly.
Classic goal for me.
Yeah, so it's a rare goal because of the angle that you're coming in. The keeper's always taught to cut off that front post, and he was playing across. But they say, if you're going to shoot it hard and shoot it high, because the reaction time for the goalkeeper is so small that, sometimes it goes in. And, I was just happy that it went in. We won the game. It was our first trophy as the LA Galaxy. And from there, that team just took off. We just started winning trophies and trophies and trophies. And I was happy to be a part of that foundation, that initial trophy for the club.
You won twice. You won twice in that league. So tell us a little bit now. We're getting into the league now because you were part of the league. Tell us a little bit now about the other part of winning with the other team. I think that was
so as a player, now I've won 5 championships. As a player, I won 3. So one was with LA in 2002, and then I played with DC United in 2004. We won also, and then 2008, my last year with Columbus Crew, the team that I'm just now leaving as an assistant coach. I won a championship here with them as a player in 2008, and then again in 2020 as an assistant coach, and then with Seattle as an assistant coach back in 2016. So it's 5 in all, but now it's my turn as a head coach to start my own legacy and do it as a head coach. And hopefully within the next year or 2 or so, I'm bringing a trophy to the people of Chicago, because the fans are excited. They are ready for a change. They're ready for the team to get back to its winning ways. And I think the excitement is something that, that's really awesome for me to be a part of.
Sorry, I turned the wrong lap. So what I'm going to do, we're going to bring you back at the end of this season. So mark it on your calendar that you're coming back to VINCY Internet Radio. And we'll go back through that whole thing, because I'm a very proud Vincentian, and also I'm very proud of you. I know how it is, because being in this part of the world and doing what we are doing, I know how hard you have to work and how hard we work in this part of the world. Especially, one thing I would like to tell a lot of people, if you're coming out to this part, make sure you do, if you want to be a footballer, if you want to be a professional, make sure you do a lot of reading on professional players.
Yes.
It's very important for you to build your vocabulary.
Yes, definitely. And that's a big part of it. And like I said, one of the things I did as a player, started as a player, was to get my coaching education, because it's one thing to be able to play. A lot of times you see a lot of players, very good players, have good careers, but they don't succeed at the coaching level. And you're never too big, you're never too old to learn. So furthering my coaching education was something that, I took upon myself, and I did. And now I have the top license, and I've learned a lot of leadership through those courses. So that's something that's, I would stress is very important. And my mom always stressed the significance and the importance of a good education, because like I said, not all of us are going to be professionals. Not all of us are going to have a coaching career after playing. So you have to have some kind of educational base to have something to fall back on, so to speak. So I'm very adamant when it comes to doing things beyond the training to better yourself.
Because one thing I can tell a lot of people, if you want to come out here, I saw a lot of Caribbean referees here in Ottawa where I live. Very good referees, but they cannot take themselves up to the next level because we didn't think about that in the Caribbean. We do it differently. But when you come out here, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of, you have to be doing a fitness test, you have to be doing an exam, and you have to pass both. Because if you fail one, they're just going to take you down to the next level.
Yes.
I'm just saying this now because we're doing an interview. So anybody who listening, like say from the Caribbean and have intention to come out here to be a footballer, cricketer, or even a referee, that it's a lot of hard work than what you do in the Caribbean.
Yes, definitely. Because there's standards, there are standards that you just have to meet, because for the game to improve, the referees also have to improve. And so every year they also are held to a certain standard. Now, if you're a referee, you can know the game as well as you can, but if you're not fit enough to get up and down and stay up with the pace of the game, it's detrimental to the game. So that's why, that standard is there, and it has to be met every year, or like you said, you get demoted.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't really realize. They say, oh, how come you still maintain a high standard as a referee? I say, because I'm still working hard.
Yeah.
And I do give advice to a lot of, maybe some from Africa, Caribbean, on what you need to do to uplift yourself. But sometimes they take it, but they don't use it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem when we notice with people like us.
Yeah.
We do get the advice, but it's what we do with it.
Yeah, sometimes, because it's putting people sometimes in a uncomfortable position. And sometimes people don't like to be uncomfortable, but sometimes you have to be, like me speaking to a player or giving advice to a player. It might come with like, not exactly rejection, but like, okay, coach, I know what I'm doing, but they have to understand that I'm only giving you advice because I've been in that situation before, or I know what it takes to get you out of the situation that I see you in. So sometimes it's just, people are just reluctant to listen to what's being told to them, because it might cause them to change a behavior, or it might put them in a zone that they're not comfortable being in, so sometimes advice is met with resistance.
And let's take it a little bit further. With you now sitting as a coach, people believe the success of the team doesn't belong only to the coach. It belongs to the people at the gate. It belongs to the whole organization. So you as a coach, what are you now putting out to your organization? How do you want to structure that organization?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I mentioned in my interview to them was, this is going to be a collaborative effort. I'm not Superman. I can't do it all myself. I know that, and that, you have to be humble. You have to know that, you're not Sir Alex Ferguson, you're going to need help. And so I know I need help. What I've done is surround myself with a staff of people that I trust, people that knows how I like the game to be played, so that they can, extend that information to the rest of the team. Now, beyond the immediate staff that I'm going to be on the field with every day, the ticket sales, the people at the gate, the operations people, they also have to make sure that they keep a high standard. Now, there are people who is in direct control of those people, but overall, it all comes down to me and all the decision. Someone has to make the final decision on a lot of things. And a lot of times that's going to be me. So I have to make sure that, one, I delegate duties to the people that I've brought on to my staff that I trust, because you have to have trust, so I know it's a collaborative effort, and I know that I needed to get people in that I trust, which I've done. And now it's just a matter of us, me especially, not trying to micromanage, not trying to do everything, but delegating duties to people so that collectively everyone feels like they have buy-in. Everyone feels like they're part of what it is that we're doing. And it's not just the coach. But at the end of the day, it's, success or not, it's the coach is going to go or the coach is going to stay, and I'm aware of that. So I think we've brought in the right people to help, shore the ship, so to speak. So I'm looking forward to, like I said, on Monday will be my first day in the office, working with the guys. So I'm looking forward to it.
When is the first game?
February 26th, first game in Miami. There's a lot of VINCY, Jamaicans, Trinis that's going to be there. I told my friends in St. Vincent last week, don't let there be more Trini and Jamaican flags in the stadium, please. So a lot of guys, a lot of my friends and stuff are going to come up from St. Vincent for that game. So get me excited.
I know a couple of guys who already indicated that they will be there.
Yes. I have a lot of Caribbean friends, and my Trini and Jamaican friends are coming. So I pleaded to my Vincentian brothers. I said, guys, women, whoever, if you love the game, if you just want to be a part of something that's, like I said, it's really big. It's beyond me. This is something big for St. Vincent. And I want as many Vincentians to be a part of it, to feel like this is them, so I want a lot of VINCY flags in the stadium, and let's see what happens. And it's against David Beckham's team too. So even more reason to come and, support.
I have a lot of friends out in Miami that I'm going to try to motivate to really come to the game. But I want to do something special, I'm going to download the schedule for your schedule. Yes. And what I'm going to do from my side is that I'm going to do some jingles every time that your games are on.
Right.
And put them on the radio. Okay. And that's all that is for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
My thing is to motivate Vincentian, and is to give you the motivation that you want. So I'll be putting them on the station when I downloaded them, and also then would be putting them onto the Facebook. Right. And what I will do, I will send that copy to you so that you can distribute.
I can also distribute on social media.
So every time there's a game, whether a week before the game, I will do that for you and make sure that you know that we are behind you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Because the most important thing is to know that you have people behind you.
Yes.
And once you know you have people behind you, that's going to give you the motivation to go. Because once you make it big, St. Vincent and the rest of the Caribbean make it big. Yeah. And this, a lot of people don't really realize this job is a very, very important job.
Yes.
That you hold on to,
Yep.
And what we need to do, and what some people don't really need to do, is how to encourage you to keep this job. Because remember, this job is a winning-based job.
Yes.
You have to win.
Yes.
You have to win to maintain your job. And there's no doubt about it. Yeah. But we out here who can give you that motivation to keep going can also help you to win. Because sometimes winning comes from the people who motivate you.
Exactly. And as a player and as assistant coach, I've won a lot of, trophies. And every time I won, it felt so special to me. I was always so excited and I felt so accomplished. But imagine if, as a head coach, I win, as a Vincentian, how happy every Vincentian is going to feel, and the kind of joy that's going to bring to a little tiny nation. And that's my goal. I just want every Vincentian to just be happy. I mean, there are going to be some naysayers, whatever have you, but on the whole, if I could just make every Vincentian happy and feel proud and feel honored that, that's a Vincentian there, and raise that flag and just uplift, the country. That, for me, that would be golden. And that's my goal. And that's why I want to just work hard to make sure that this thing is a success. I don't want to be a flash in the pan. I want this thing to be a success and move on to big and better things. Who knows what the future holds,
Yeah, and because I tell you, this jingle, I played it so many times at work. Every time I sit at my bench, and everybody coming across, who is that? I say, this guy, this is a Vincentian guy. He's now the head coach of Chicago Fires, and I'll be interviewing him on the weekend. So I just want to get the message across, because that's how you make me feel proud.
I appreciate that.
To be a Vincentian, that I can just go out there at my job and just turn up my phone at my lunchtime and everybody listening it.
Yeah.
Because they always say, "Oh, you have anybody this weekend?" I say, "Yes, I have my Vincentian brother, and he's the head coach of Chicago Fire." So by that, I'm trying to spread it. So when people go and they see and they know exactly, oh, this is a Vincentian. Because It's very important, it's very important that people know your identity.
Yeah. And whenever I hear that song, I Love You, St. Vincent, man, my heart it just warms my heart. And so when I would listen to that jingle, every time that part came on, I was just like, yeah, St. Vincent, we're here. We're here,
That song, I wanted to put every patriotic song on that jingle.
Yeah.
That was my aim when I did the jingle. Yeah. There could be no other patriotic songs that could be picked, but I decided to pick those one because I find those one send a better message.
Right. About just being proud of being a VINCY, and just celebrate this. I want, like I said, this extends beyond me. I'm just the forefront figure, but this is for every Vincentian. This is something that I want every Vincentian to embrace and feel like they are part of it. Even if you've never met me, just the fact that I'm a Vincentian and I'm in this position, I just want you to feel proud of that and feel proud of your country, of yourself, and just big up St. Vincent.
You get from Denise, all the lipstick, you get from Janice, and the face powder, you borrow from Alana. That's why you look right up on the Facebook, and I'm eager to come check. You look right up on the Facebook.
Ezra, was there ever a fear that if you don't make it in professional soccer?
No. I always knew. I always, like I said, I have a deep faith in God. And so I always believe that as long as I kept working hard, this would happen and I would make it. Now, I put things in place in case it didn't happen by, going to university and getting a college degree and stuff like that, in marketing. And even when I was a professional athlete, I still would do things to prepare myself for life after playing. Like I said, going and doing my coaching education and stuff like that. I wanted to be a coach. So I always thought I would make it to this level. I always thought this job would be mine one day. I didn't know it would be Chicago, but I knew I'd be a head coach in the league at some point. But I also, in the meanwhile, because I always say prepare for a rainy day. You never know. Maybe I broke a leg or maybe whatever, something happened, I had something to fall back on. So I was preparing myself for this day. But in case this day didn't come, I would be okay. But I never thought that the day would not come. No.
Mm-hmm. I like what you said also about, your deep faith and your deep spirituality, because a friend of mine once said something political, that this post will never be the prime minister. And my very good friend, he said, never say that, because if God wants him to be, nothing can stop him. And, I echoed your sentiments with your faith in yes. that form. Yeah. So when you became the coach, like you said, now you're in control of things, and I know you're backed by, management, and management believes in you. Do they give you like any limit as to what you can do and what you cannot do? What are your boundaries in terms of like you said, recruiting. I know you said if they recruit and you have the final say, but are there any limitations like for people outside or people in St. Vincent? What are some of the things that you look for in your recruits?
Well, just players who can play the style of play that I like to play. There's a certain attributes that every player in every position, a player profile, so to speak, that you look for in a player. Now, for my wingers, I need guys who are fast, guys who are good 1v1, you know. Goalkeepers have to be able to play with their feet, have to have a command of the box, have to have a good vocal, leadership, defenders have to be fast, have to be good on the ball, because we're not going to be playing a long ball. I don't play a long ball style. I like to play out of the back, build from behind with passes through the different thirds of the field, breaking lines, like I mentioned earlier. So there are different attributes that, when I'm recruiting or when I'm looking for players that I look for. And my scouts, the technical director, and everyone, they know what it is that I'm looking for at every position, because I have, a player profile that, I've given it to them as far as, okay, I want a forward, but this is the type of forward I want. I need a left back. This is what I want. I need a left-sided center back. This is what I want, et cetera, et cetera. So there are standards that, they have to look for, that they know that they're looking for when they're looking for players. And I also look, I don't have enough time to look at every player. And especially since I've gotten this job, like every day there's an agent calling or emailing, or everybody has the next best thing, and so you have to, it's a lot of managerial work being a head coach, because there's a lot of people who have this player, and you got to look at this player, and so you have to really take the time to decipher, sift through all that information, and not get bogged down on everything. So it's they know what it is as far as player type that I'm looking for when they go out looking for a player. When I took the job, I told them 5 positions that I needed, and so they know what I'm looking for.
Because my reason for that question was that like, as you know, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we see so many talents, and they like pretty much went to waste, because we go like, oh my God, this guy is so good, and then it went to waste. So hence the reason for me to ask that. So if I was to ask you, when you were growing up, who were your role models in soccer?
In soccer?
Yeah.
So a big mentor for me, like my uncles, they played soccer, my mom's brothers and stuff. So I used to watch them, and just guys in the community in Layu, just watching them, like the Marcus Young and the Peter Baker and guys like that, watching them play, Leon Wickham, guys like that. And then some of my uncles like Henry Jeffers and stuff like that, Sinclair Samuel, to name a few. So I used to watch those guys and try to, play like them. Once I got into the States and stuff, soccer was not as prominent, so there really wasn't, there wasn't a professional league at the time. But, once I get old and stuff, I watched like the Thierry Henrys, and, I used to like Cafu, someone who played my position, a great Brazilian right back. He's someone that I try to play like, because I played right back most of my my playing years. So that's someone I try to emulate. And as far as like as coaching, Ziggy Schmidt was someone who coached me for a number of years, and then brought me onto his staff once I retired, and who was very influential in me being here today. He's no longer with us, unfortunately, but he was kind of like a father figure for me. Coached me as a player, brought me on in Seattle on his staff, brought me to Los Angeles Galaxy on his staff, and someone that, I really learned a lot about the game from. And so he was like a main mentor for me as far as my, coaching career.
If someone was to take a page from your book, what page would you like them to take?
Wow. I don't know. I think those years from 95 to 2007, just representing my country, I think that'd be a good start. And just to see the kind of passion that I played with, even though I didn't live there in St. Vincent. And when I first got there, there was a lot of friction about whether or not I should be on the team, because you got to understand, I wasn't playing professionally. I was playing semi-pro. So before I even got there, on the ground, people were like, well, who's this guy they're bringing in? No one knew about me. But after like, a couple of days of training, I think everyone realized, oh, okay, this guy, he's worth it. He's a VINCY and he's good enough. So, but those years from 95 to 2007, just representing St. Vincent, as far as my soccer career, those are the years that I would say, hey, read this, look at that page.
I like how you said that, because like many of us would go and say, I'd like them to take out the page to see where I became head coach. So, but I like the grassroots. Sorry, I like the grassroots part of it, because it shows that's where your character was molded, and that's where everything started. That's the grassroots. That's where it happened, and without that, there would have been no you today. So, I really, really like that answer. For me, I think Sip might want to wrap up, but I just want to tell you, Ezra, man, it's been an absolute privilege, a pleasure. I appreciate everything that you have done in terms of representing St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're a true patriot. You're an intelligent man, obviously, and I must say that, you have an extra fan in terms of Major League Soccer, in terms of me. And I know, from this program, you will be flooded with a lot more fan. And of course, you also told the Chicago media, don't forget that if you win more games, soccer, of course, will be more prominent in Chicago. You'll be more fans. In other words, if you build it, they'll come.
Amen. Amen. Yes.
Thanks a lot for all that you're doing, man, and all the best. God's richest blessing on your success, and we're all gonna ride on your success.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you also. This, for me, I like doing stuff like this because I think sometimes people don't really know the person. They hear about this Ezra Hendrickson, and it's good to come on the show like this and talk to the people, basically, because those who are listening, they might tell someone who maybe wasn't listening, you should check this interview out. So it's good to tell my story, let people know where I'm from, let them know that I'm all about St. Vincent. I'm all about, making every Vincentian in the diaspora, back home, proud to be a Vincentian. And
before we wrap up, Ezra, I want to give you a little thing. You remember the team Swansea out of LAU?
Yeah.
I used to be a lover of that team,
Yes, that was a good team.
And I tell you, Peter Baker and me played together with Rosians.
Rosians, okay.
Yeah, I played with the Rosians a little bit before he came to Canada.
Yeah, I was in St. Martin's them times.
Those times.
Yeah.
Peter Baker was
early to mid 80s. Yeah.
When I was in the goal, Peter Baker was one of the players that I really loved to watch. That left-footed player. So,
yeah, man, he was good.
Yeah, so I just gotta let you know that, so that you can just keep that in your keep that in your memory for a little bit. Yeah, but, it was really a pleasure.
CP used to get a 2-minute game,
no. Those days, if I was living in the tongue side, man, I'm from Byra Hill, so I'm from the countryside.
Okay.
If I was living in the tongue area, man, I would have been a more advanced.
Okay, yeah. It
It
was a lot difficult back then for Peter Baker. Marcus Young was one of the top footballers, but he didn't really get the opportunity that he would have gotten had he been, back in the days. It's kind of,
But Leeward people have more opportunity than the Windward side, though. The Leeward side.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, and during my years when I was a captain, at times we would have like 6-7 LAU men on the team.
Yeah, because even now, if I was there now, the transportation to get to the Windward side is a lot easier than what it used to be in my days.
Back in the days, yes.
Sometimes, we have a game like on a Sunday. I walk part of the way to get to Kingston to play the game.
To play, yeah.
So that commitment at that time.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a real pleasure to be with you. Really enjoy this. And don't forget, at the end of the season, you have a date with us again.
Yeah, we'll come back and hopefully I'm coming with a trophy.
That would be very, very, very nice.
Man, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Yes, that would be something. So anyhow, anytime you want anything, announcement, any kind of thing, you have my phone number. I think I'll send you my phone number.
Yeah.
Because I have yours. And But you have my email address. Don't be
Right.
shy, man.
Yep.
Anytime you want anything, whether it's a jingle to promote something,
Yeah.
don't be shy. Because
Right.
I promise you that I'll be doing a jingle for you for every game that you're gonna do this year. I'm gonna download this schedule and I'm gonna do a jingle for you every time. So you need something, don't be shy. Just reach out to me. If you can't reach me, which sometimes is very difficult, and you can reach my co-host, I'll let Moulton hook up with you
On
through the
Instagram.
Facebook.
Right.
And so if you can't reach me and you reach him, then we can work on things for you.
Okay.
You know, it's a pleasure. And anything you want to say in parting, I don't have much to say because you already said it all. Anything you want to say in parting, that you have the last word.
Well, yeah, I just want to, again, thank you guys for having me on. For those of you out there listening, just remember 100% Vincy. This is all about St. Vincent. No matter where you're from in St. Vincent, no matter where you're living, once you're Vincentian, you should feel proud about this situation. This is something very big for our country, and I'm going to do my part to make sure that this is a success. And I'll always put the country first. So God bless, and thank you guys.
Thank you. It's live on YouTube. We had a little problem in getting uploaded to Facebook, but as soon as I finish it, I recorded it live on the Zoom. Soon as we finish, in next 5 minutes or so, I'll be uploading it to Facebook.
Facebook. Okay.
So before you go, before you go, I know your Instagram is private, but if you have any social media that you like us to follow you on, you can feel free to say it now.
Send it over. Do you want me to send it over?
Yeah, you can say it now or say it over if you want.
I don't even
follow
Facebook is Ezra Paul Hendrickson, and then Instagram, I think it's Ezra Official IG.
Yeah.
At Ezra Official IG.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You have one Ezra Hendrickson that's more private, I think.
No, I just have Ezra. Oh, the Instagram.
Yeah.
No, my only Instagram is Ezra Hendrickson, but it's the @ is at Ezra Official IG.
Right. So folks,
like I don't recall. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, folks, if you type Ezra Hendrickson, you'll get it as well.
You'll get it. Okay.
All right. You're becoming this popular man now without anything.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks you, man.
Thank you.